This was a very weird card, but it wasn't weird in a bad way. It was weird in a good way. And we got there's some shady stuff happening. There's one fight, this one. Apparently, people are saying that this was a rigged fight. I don't know. We'll talk about it, but Steve Garcia versus David Onama, UFC Fight Night, just took place like a few minutes ago. Garcia gets the easiest win of his career. I knew this was going to happen. I knew he was going to destroy David Onama in the first round. David Onama is just a bad fighter. Okay, that's just the way it is. Bad fighter. And I don't want to get too deep into why he's a bad fighter, because my channel could be deleted. It could be canceled. But if I'm picking, let's just say this. If I'm picking fighters based out of Africa, I'm only picking them based out of West Africa. Because West Africa is really the only part of Africa where they produce very strong, powerful, genetic freaks of athletes. Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, this part of the world, Togo, Benin, Sierra Leone, all these countries on the West Coast. But when you're talking about Uganda and, in Themba Garimbo's case, Zimbabwe, I'm not picking you. Now, I have picked David Onama to win fights before, and he has won fights. He's knocked people out. But I knew against a very tough Mexican chinny guy like Steve Garcia, and Steve Garcia, he is a marauder. And I don't say that because of the meme. He's a marauder. No, Steve Garcia genuinely is a fucking marauder. This guy, he gets rocked and hit very hard by very powerful guys, but in all those times, he keeps getting back up. He gets back up, and then he proceeds to knock his opponent out. And I knew David Onama wasn't going to put it onto Steve Garcia like that. So, Garcia, 7-fight win streak. What's next for Steve Garcia? Yair Rodriguez, that's who's next. Yair Rodriguez. Let's look at the rankings real quick. We're at featherweight. So Garcia just beat up 13, rank 13. He was already on a 6-fight win streak, now on a 7-fight win streak. He needs to be before Pitbull, Silva, Josh Emmett, and Brian Ortega. He needs to be ranked higher than all of these guys, without a doubt. And Arnold Allen. Now, Yusuf Zalal is on a win streak of his own, and he just beat Josh Emmett. But Arnold Allen has been inactive. He hasn't fought. Then he needs somebody in the top 5. Yair Rodriguez. Who is Yair going to fight? Unless they do Yair Rodriguez versus Diego Lopez. But I don't think they're going to do that fight just yet. I would like to see Garcia versus Rodriguez. Mexican versus Mexican. Get it done. As for Movsar Evloev, please don't do that one. I don't want to see Garcia versus Evloev. I don't know what they're going to do with Evloev. I feel sorry for him, but hey, you got to be somewhat entertaining, man. No submissions, no knockouts. Come on. But this video isn't about Movsar Evloev. For David Onama, who can he fight? I don't know. Dan Ige, I guess. Just give him Ige. But yeah, I'm excited for Steve Garcia. This fight, man, I thought this fight was over. I thought Waldo quit at first. I didn't see that it was an eye poke. I didn't know it was an eye poke. I thought he just quit, which, was very shocking for me because I know he does have a chin. And then they showed that the eye poke happened. You could not write anything better than this. I've never seen something like this happen. I've never seen this shit before. Delijah was with his team. They were all celebrating. The fight wasn't over. Waldo wants to continue. A week after the Aspinall fiasco, this isn't going to look good for the Aspinall fans, which I am included in that calculus. But great win from Waldo. You have to be a fan of Waldo now. How can you not? I know Waldo had some haters for, what he did to Arlovsky a few years ago. But you have to be a fan of him now. Goes out there, decides to continue the fight, gets hit by a big shot from Delijah, but then he comes back with his own shot, knocks Ante Delijah down, and then finishes him with a brutal ground and pound. Mark Smith stops the fight. It's over. Waldo Cortez Acosta maintains his ranking. This was a big win for Waldo. Who does Waldo fight next now? If he wants to be active, they would probably do Curtis Blades. He hasn't fought Curtis Blades yet. I was going to say Volkov, but I don't want to see that with Volk. Volkov would beat Waldo. Just saying. Plus, Volkov, he doesn't need to fight Waldo. Volkov needs to fight for the title next, after the Aspinall-Gane fiasco is sorted out and we get a winner in the rematch. Waldo versus Blades. Blades has fought pretty much everybody in the top 5, top 10, but he hasn't fought Waldo, so that's the fight to make next. Ante Delija, I know he's up there in age. He's like 35, 36 or something, but he got rushed in too fast into the UFC, and that was my mistake for picking him. That was a very dumb move on my part for picking him. I thought he had fast hand speed, which he did, but I guess he just expunged too much energy in that first barrage, thinking that he got the win, but he didn't. I'm glad that Waldo won, though. I'm sick of the eye pokes. I really am. There was no excuse at all for Delija to come in with his fingers extended like that as he comes in with the barrage. I'm glad Waldo won. Ante Delija, keep your fucking hands closed, man. Jeremiah Wells versus Themba Gorimbo. Feature fight. I picked Jeremiah Wells, and I'm glad that I did. I thought Jeremiah Wells was going to catch him on the chin, but he just survives the grappling and does grappling of his own. Themba Gorimbo sucks. Another point proven to me of why you only pick West Africans. We've only had champions out of Africa, and they were all West African. Izzy, Nigeria. Usman, Nigeria. Ngannou, Cameroon. We see a Teba Gautier coming up. He's also from Cameroon. Very scary guy. He's probably going to continue winning and be on a very big win streak until they put him up against a grappler, if a Teba Gautier doesn't have good grappling defense. But I knew Themba Gorimbo was going to lose this fight. And like I said, it is the year of the Unks. 2025 certified year of the Unk from here on out. Jeremiah Wells is 38 years old. Beats Themba Gorimbo. He doesn't give a fuck, man, if you have 16 kids to feed. Jeremiah Wells doesn't give a fuck. Good win from Jeremiah Wells. We move on. Okay, now this is the one. So I picked Yadier do Valle. You can go back. You can see Valle, green name. I picked Valle to win this fight a few days before this whole fiasco about the fight being rigged. Now, apparently, some people are saying the fight was rigged. Some people are saying that there was an injury with Isaac Dulgarian, that he broke his hand not that long ago, and the information just got out, and so that's why a lot of bookies poured a lot of money into Del Valle. I picked Del Valle just because he's Cuban, and Cubans are good boxers. I didn't really know much about Isaac Dulgarian and how he has, good wrestling. So I was blindsided by this. And I wish I put some money on this card, man, because I would have made some good money. But gambling is wrong, kids. Don't do gambling. Gambling is bad. But we have to figure out what the situation is with this. If it was rigged, you would think that Dulgarian would have tapped out sooner, because he was in that rear naked choke for a long time, and it was tight. You would have thought, I would tap out as soon as it's there. It's not like people would disagree and see that in a wrong way, but I don't think it was rigged in that aspect. I think that he was probably injured somehow, some way, and that information got leaked out, and people are saying now it's rigged, it's rigged, it's rigged. If it was rigged, I think he would have tapped out sooner. That's just my 2 cents. I could be wrong. I don't know about this whole James Krause situation, or whoever that guy is. I guess he's a scummy guy. I don't know. But Yadier do Valle, 10-0, undefeated. But now this win on his record isn't going to be counted that much, is it? People aren't going to give him credit for this, which if he was injured, if Isaac was injured, then I guess you shouldn't. But sucks. We all hate these types of things. Minus 270 favorite. What can you do, though? Charles Radke versus Daniel Frunze. I'm really upset with this one. I picked Daniel Frunze, as you can see. There is a red name for Frunze. I got this pick wrong because on Tapology, ESPN, and all the other sites that matter, even on the UFC site, Daniel Frunze is listed as 6'1" at welterweight, whereas Charles Radke is listed as 5'9". They're both the exact same height. Either they're 5'9", 5'10", whatever the case may be. I picked Frunze because I knew Radke lost to CP, Carlos Prates, and Mike Malott, who are tall welterweights. He doesn't do good against tall striker welterweights. I thought Frunze was going to be a tall welterweight. He wasn't. He gets dominated with the grappling by Charles Radke. Charles Radke, part of the Hitler Youth SS, doing his ancestors proud. Sucks for Frunze. That's my fault. If I would have seen the face-offs earlier, I would have picked Radke, but it's just my fault for not doing enough research, okay? I'm not a big Daniel Frunze watcher, so still learning. Alan Nascimento versus Cody Durden. Not much to say about this one. Cody Durden took this fight on short notice. Alan Nascimento hits him with a big elbow that starches his nose open. Blood everywhere. Beats him up. Easy win for Alan Nascimento. Billy Elicana versus Kevin Christian. I'm so glad I picked Elicana because there was a part of me that wanted to pick Kevin Christian. I was thinking about picking Kevin Christian, but I was like, no. Billy Elicana beat up Ibo Aslan and survived for a little while against a bigged up, bulked up Bogdan Guskov, who he took that fight on short notice. Very underweight. He was very small in that fight. And I saw Kevin Christian was a 6'7" light heavyweight. We don't get many 6'7" light heavyweights. So, very rare type of fighter in that division. I was thinking maybe, it could be a breakout performance where he just knocks out Elicana. But no. Like MMA Guru says, Kevin Christian is an Indian variant Brazilian. You got to watch out for these Indian Brazilians, man. Brenson Ribeiro, Rafael Cerqueira, they just get knocked out. Billy Elicana knocks him out with a big, wide hook, puts him down on his ass, beats him with ground and pound, then submits him. He taps out. He's out bad, fucks up his face. It's over. Good win from Billy Elicana. Timmy Kwamba versus Chong Ho Lee. I picked Timmy Kwamba. You don't pick Koreans that have this type of haircut, that have the K-pop type of haircut. You just don't. They lose, and that's literally the only reason I picked Timmy Kwamba. I don't watch these guys all that often. Look, here's the thing. I am not a casual, but I created this channel 4 months ago. I've been watching the UFC for years, but I always skipped early prelims and prelims fights. But ever since I created this channel, I've been watching every single fight and every single event, all the fights in the Contender Series. I'm still learning. But one thing I do learn is you don't pick Koreans that look like this. And I know there's another Korean on this card, which I picked against him, and I learned my lesson in that one, and I will talk about that one. But Timmy Kwamba gets it done. Donte Johnson versus Boot Gang Dumas. Another easy pick of mine. Donte Johnson looked very impressive in his Contender Series fight. He beats up a heavyweight, and he fights at 209 pounds. He didn't have to fight at heavyweight. And this heavyweight was big. Was like 6'3", 6'4". And Donte Johnson, he's listed as 5'8", but I'm thinking he's actually 5'10". He was like the same height as DC. And DC was wearing shoes, so he was like maybe 5'10 and a half, or maybe 5'9 and a half, I don't know. But same height as DC, thick guy at heavyweight, knocks out the heavyweight guy out. He goes down to middleweight and fights Cedric Dumas. Cedric Dumas is a horrible fighter. I knew he was going to lose. And that's just an easy pick. I don't think Donte Johnson makes it all that far, but I think he does beat up some bums at middleweight, because there's plenty of bums that he could beat up at middleweight. So exciting to see more of him. Ketlin Vieira versus Norma Jamont. Now, to be honest, I thought Ketlin Vieira won this fight. I did pick Norma Jamont. And before I made that video, I was thinking about picking Ketlin Vieira just because she did give a tough fight to Kayla Harrison. But I was like, no, the big Brazilian bunda on Norma Jamont, she's going to get it done. She's on a big fight win streak, and she does get it done. Controversial split decision, whatever you want to call it. I'm glad Norma gets it done because we get to see more of her, and I am part of the Norma Jamont seat-sniffing crew. I do love to smell Norma Jamont's seats when she's working out at the gym, doing the squats, and sitting down on the bench. I will be up behind her, inhaling the atoms that are on that bench because I'm a big Norma Jamont fan. So, Alice Ardeline versus Montserrat. I didn't watch this shit. I mean, I did watch it, but I was on my phone. Ardeline gets it done. Yeah, what else is there to say? Montserrat, she's very short, very small. And, you know, if there was an atom weight division, she would probably do good in that one, but you can't go smaller than straw weight. Literal 5 foot Latina goblin. Una pequeñita tortita. That sucks for those really, really small women that are like 4'11", 5 foot, because she's one of them. Gets picked apart by Alice Ardeline, Romanian woman. What else is there to say? Phil Rowe versus Seokyeon Ko. Now, what I said about those Koreans with these K-pop haircuts, this guy doesn't have a K-pop haircut. This guy has a buzz cut. He looks like a North Korean. You know, with those buzz cuts up there. He doesn't have the gay little feminine boy type of look. He looks like a manly, masculine man. And I thought Phil Rowe, 6'3", very big for a welterweight. But Phil Rowe is just retarded, man. Just a dumb fucking fighter. Like, you know he's going to go for the takedowns. Do you not watch tape? You saw what he did to Oban Elliott. You can't even throw a knee. You can't throw some teeps to the body. You can't throw some jabs. You got the height. You got the reach. What the fuck are you doing? I'm never picking you again. Fuck Phil Rowe. Seokyeon Ko, boring fighter, but gets it done. Give him someone in the top now. Someone ranked. It's time. And then Alankar versus Carnelossi. Carnelossi looks like a man. I thought the manly woman with these giant arms was going to get it done, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Like what we see with Miranda Maverick. She's got a big fucking shoulder and giant triceps and biceps, but they just lose. So Alankar gets the submission, and that's that. Decent card. I'm hyped for my boy Garcia. The clean machine Garcia. And I'm hyped for Waldo. I am now officially a Waldo Cortez Acosta stan. Not a fan, a stan. And all the Aspinall haters have some more ammunition to throw out. Sucks for Aspinall. But I guess the defense for the Aspinall fans is, you know, it was a double eye poke that Aspinall suffered, not a single eye poke. So that's that. UFC Fight Night, Garcia versus Onama. I rate it a 7 out of 10. Okay? That's all I got for this video. Subscribe to my channel, motherfuckers. Subscribe right now. You know you want to. Peace out.